Episode 2, the Fueling Series. Insulin resistance and the breakdown of internal order. Your body has two non-negotiable requirements for health. The first is metabolic clarity. The second is intestinal integrity. When either one is compromised, the entire system begins to destabilize. And when both are compromised at the same time, chronic illness becomes almost inevitable. The central driver of modern metabolic dysfunction is insulin resistance. Insulin is not a villain. It is a signaling hormone that tells your cells when energy is available and how it should be used. When insulin works properly, glucose is cleared efficiently, cells respond appropriately, and energy is distributed with precision. But when insulin is elevated too often for too long from repeated glucose exposure, the signal loses clarity. Cells stop responding, receptors downregulate, the message becomes noise. This is insulin resistance. Glucose remains in the bloodstream, insulin stays elevated, fat storage increases, energy access decreases. You feel tired, hungry, inflamed, and unfocused, even while eating frequently. This is not because your body is failing. It is because it is defending itself from a signal that never turns off. Chronically elevated insulin does not just affect blood sugar. It disrupts fat metabolism, it alters hormone balance, it drives visceral fat accumulation, it increases inflammatory signaling, and it places constant stress on the vascular and immune systems. This is why insulin resistance sits upstream of obesity, cardiovascular disease, neurodegeneration, hormonal dysfunction, and metabolic syndrome. But insulin resistance rarely acts alone. Running parallel to it is the second major driver of systemic breakdown: loss of gut barrier integrity. What is often called leaky gut is not a fringe concept. It is a well-documented physiological process. Your intestinal lining is meant to be selectively permeable. It should allow nutrients through while keeping inflammatory particles out. But certain foods, certain anti-nutrients, chronic stress, and constant insulin signaling damage that barrier. Tight junctions loosen, undigested proteins, bacterial fragments, and inflammatory molecules pass into circulation. The immune system responds as it is designed to respond, with vigilance. Over time, that vigilance becomes chronic. The immune system stays activated because the signal never stops. This is the gateway to autoimmune dysfunction. Not because the immune system is confused, but because it is being repeatedly provoked by material that should never have entered the bloodstream. Insulin resistance fuels inflammation, leaky gut supplies the trigger. Together, they create metabolic mayhem. This is why partial measures fail. You cannot improve insulin sensitivity while continuing to spike insulin. You cannot heal gut integrity while continuing to ingest irritants. And you cannot negotiate with physiology through moderation of signals that require clarity. The body does not respond to compromise. It responds to information. Anything that perpetuates insulin resistance or compromises gut integrity must be removed if health is the goal. Not forever, but long enough for the system to reset. This is not punishment, it is repair. In episode 3 of the Fueling series, we will address the most uncomfortable truth of all: why glucose is not just fuel, but one of the most powerful addictive substances in the modern environment, and why breaking free requires understanding withdrawal, not fearing it.